page 20.1, chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Part 3 of the Constitution with Articles 12 to 35 deal with the fundamental rights. Part 4 of the Constitution with Articles 36 to 51 deal with the directive principles of state policy, and Part 4A with Article 51A deals with the fundamental duties. Part 4A was added through 42nd Amendment Act within bracket 1976. 1. Fundamental rights. The original Constitution had 7 fundamental rights, but as a result of the 44th Amendment in 1978, right to property was deleted from the list of the fundamental rights and was declared an ordinary right under Article 300A. Article 300A reads, "No person shall be deprived of his property save by authority of law." Article 12 is a general provision which defines the word within inverted commas state to include the government and Parliament of India and the government and legislature of each of the state and other local authorities. Article 13 clearly says that laws inconsistent with or in derogation of the fundamental rights would stand void. It further says that the state would not make any law which takes away or abridges the rights, and any law made in contravention of this clause would stand void. Furthermore, it says that nothing in this article within bracket, that is Article 13 bracket closed, would apply to any amendment of this Constitution made under Article 368. Articles 33 and 34 relate to the changes in respect of these rights with regard to amend forces and material law. Article 35 empowers the Parliament and not the states' legislatures to make laws with respect to Clause 3 of Article 16, Clause 3 of Articles 32, 33 and 34. The fundamental rights as stated in articles from Article 14 to Article 32 with exception of Article 31 and its other parts within bracket not deleted bracket closed are as under. 1A. Fundamental rights article wise. 1. Right to equality. The state shall not deny to any person equality before law or the equal protection of the laws within the territory of India. Article 14. Chapter 20 Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.2. 1. Right to equality continued. 1. The state shall not discriminate against any citizen on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them within inverted comma Article 15 Clause 1 bracket closed. 2. No citizen shall on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them be subject to any disability, liability, restriction or condition with regard to A. access to shops, public restaurants, hotels and places of public entertainment, or B. the use of wells, tanks, bathing huts, roads and places or public resort maintained wholly or partly out of state funds or dedicated to the use of the general public within bracket Article 15(2) bracket closed. 3. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any special provision for women and children within bracket Article 15 Clause 3 bracket closed. 4. Nothing in this article or in Clause 2 of Article 29 shall prevent the state from making any special provision for the advancement of any socially and educationally backward classes of citizens or for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes within bracket Article 15(4). Equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. 1. There shall be equality of opportunity for all citizens in matters relating to employment or appointment to any office under the state within bracket Article 16 Clause 1 bracket close. 2. No citizen shall on grounds only of religion, race, caste, sex, descent, place of birth, residence or any of them be ineligible for with or discriminated against in respect of any employment or office under the state within bracket Article 16 Clause 2 bracket closed. 3. Nothing in this article shall prevent Parliament from making any law prescribing in regard to a class or classes of employment or appointment to an office under the government of or any local or other authority within a state or union territory, any requirement as to residence within that state or union territory prior to such employment of appointment within bracket Article 16 Clause 3. 4. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for the reservation of appointments or posts in favor of any backward class of citizens which, in the opinion of the state, is not adequately represented in the services under the state within bracket Article 16 Clause 4 bracket closed. 4a. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from making any provision for reservation in matters of promotion to any class or classes or posts in the services under the state in favor of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes which, in the opinion of the state, are not adequately represented in the services under the state within bracket Article 16 Clause 4a bracket closed. 5. Nothing in this article shall affect the operation of any law which provides that the incumbent of an office in connection with the affairs of any religious or denominational institution or any member of the governing body thereof shall be person professing a particular religion or belonging to a particular denomination within bracket Article 16 Clause 5 bracket closed. Within inverted comma untouchability is abolished and its practice in any form is forbidden. The enforcement of any disability rising out of within inverted comma untouchability shall be an offence punishable in accordance with law within bracket Article 17. 1. No title not being a military or academic distinction shall be conferred by the state within bracket Article 18 Clause 1. 2. No citizen of India shall accept any title from any foreign state within bracket Article 18 Clause 2. 3. No person who is not a citizen of India shall, while he holds any office of profit or trust under the state, accept without the consent of the President any of the title from any foreign state within bracket Article 18 Clause 3. 4. No person holding any office of profit or trust under the state shall, without the consent of the President, accept any present emolument or office of any kind from or under any foreign state within bracket Article 18 Clause 4. Chapter 20 Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.3. 2. Right to freedom. 1. All citizens shall have the right a. to freedom to speech and expression, b. to assemble peaceably and without arms, c. to form associations or unions, d. to move freely throughout the territory of India, e. to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India, and f. to practice any profession, to carry on any occupation, trade or business within bracket Article 19 Clause 1 bracket closed. The above freedoms have to be exercised in the interests of the sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state, friendly relations with foreign states, public order, decency or morality, or in relation to contempt of court, defamation or incitement to an offence, reasonable restriction in the interest of the scheduled castes and like, within bracket Article 19 bracket A Clause 2 to Clause 6 bracket closed. 1. No person shall be convicted of any offence except for violation of a law in force at the time of the commission of the act charged as an office, or nor be subjected to a penalty greater than that which might have been inflicted under the law in force at the time of commission of the offence within bracket Article 20 Clause 1 bracket closed. 2. No person shall be prosecuted and punished for the same office more than once within bracket Article 20 Clause 2. 3. No person accused of any offence shall be compelled to be witness against himself. Article 20 Clause 3. Protection of life and personal liberty. No person shall be deprived of his life or personal liberty except according to procedure established by law within bracket Article 21. Protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. 1. No person who is arrested shall be detained in custody without being informed as soon as may be of the grounds for such arrest, nor shall he be denied the right to consult and to be defended by a legal practitioner of his choice within bracket Article 22 Clause 1. 2. Every person who is arrested and detained in custody shall be produced before the nearest magistrate within a period of 24 hours of such arrest, excluding the time necessary for the journey from the place of arrest to the court of the magistrate, and no such person shall be detained in custody beyond the said period without the authority of a magistrate within bracket Article 22 Clause 2. 3. Nothing in Clause 1 and 2 shall apply a. to any person who for the time being is an enemy alien, or b. to any person who is arrested or detained under any law providing for preventive detention within bracket Article 22(3) Clause 3. 4. No law providing for preventive detention shall authorize the detention of a person for a longer period than 3 months unless Chapter 20 Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.3 2. Right to freedom continued. Page 20.4 continued. Right to freedom. A. An advisory board consisting of persons who are or have been or are qualified to be appointed as judges of the High Court has reported before the expiration of the said period of 3 months that there is in its opinion sufficient cause for such detention within bracket Article 22 wrong. I repeat, within bracket Article 22 Clause 4A. 5. When any person is detained in pursuance of an order made under any law providing for preventive detention, the authority making the order shall as soon as may be communicate to such person the grounds on which the order has been made and shall afford him the earliest opportunity of making a representation against the order. Within bracket Article 25 Clause 20 wrong. I repeat, within bracket Article 22 Clause 5 bracket closed. 6. Nothing in the Clause 5 shall require the authority making any such order as is referred to in that clause to disclose facts which such authority considers to be against the public interest to disclose within bracket Article 22 Clause 6 bracket closed. 7. Parliament may by law prescribe a. the circumstances under which and the classes of cases in which a person may be detained for a period longer than 3 months under any law providing for preventive detention without obtaining the opinion of any advisory board in accordance with the provisions of sub-clause A of clause 4. B. The maximum period for which any person may in any class or classes or classes of cases be detained under any law providing for preventive detention. And C. The procedure to be followed by any advisory board in any inquiry under clause A, sub-clause A of clause 4 within bracket Article 22 within bracket 7 sub-clause A, B and C bracket closed. 3. Right against exploitation. 1. Traffic in human beings and beggary and other similar forms of forced labor are prohibited, and any contravention of this provision shall be an offence punishable in accordance with the law within bracket Article 23 of clause 1 bracket closed. 2. Nothing in this article shall prevent the state from imposing compulsory service for public purposes, and in imposing such service the state shall not make any discrimination on grounds only of religion, race, caste or class or any of them within bracket Article 23 clause 2. 3. No child below the age of 14 years shall be employed to work in any factory or mine or engaged in any other hazardous employment. within bracket Article 24. 4. Right to freedom of religion. 1. Subject to public order, morality and health, and to the other provisions of this part, all persons are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and right freely to profess, practice and propagate religion, within bracket Article 25 Clause 1 bracket closed. 2. Nothing in this article shall, after the operation of any existing law, or prevent the state from making any law. A. Regulating or restricting any economic, financial, political or other secular activity which may be associated with religion, religious practice. B. Providing for social welfare and reform or the throwing open of Hindu religious institutions of a public character to all classes and sections of Hindus, within bracket Article 25 subclause 2 small a and b, bracket closed. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. 4. Right to freedom of religion, page 20.5 continuing. Subject to public order, morality and health. Every religious denomination of or any action, any section thereof shall have the right A. To establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purposes. B. To manage its own affairs in matters of religion. C. To own and acquire movable and immovable property. And D. To administer such property in accordance with law. Article 26, bracket closed. No person shall be compelled to pay any taxes, the proceeds of which are specially appropriated in the payment of expenses for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denominations. Repeat, or religious denominations. Within bracket Article 27. 1. No religious instruction shall be provided in any educational institution wholly maintained out of state funds, within bracket Article 28 Clause 23 bracket close. 2. Nothing in Clause 1 shall apply to an educational institution which is administered by the state but has been established under any endowment or must or trust with, I repeat, or trust which requires that religious instruction shall be imparted in such an institution, within bracket Article 28 Clause 2. 3. No person attending an educational institution recognized by the state or receiving aid out of the state funds shall be required to take part in any religious instruction that may be imparted in such institutions or to attend any religious workshop that may be conducted such an institution or in any premises attached thereto, unless such person or if such person is a minor, his guardian has given his consent thereto, within bracket Article 28 Clause 3. 5. Cultural and educational rights. 1. Any section of the citizen residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same, within bracket Article 29 Clause 1. 2. No citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state funds on grounds only of religion, race, caste, language or any of them, within bracket Article 29 Clause 2. Rights of minority to establish and administer educational institutions. 1. All minorities, whether based on religious or languages, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice, within bracket Article 30 Clause 1. 1A. In making any law providing for the compulsory acquisition of any property of any educational institution established and administered by a minority referred to in clause 1, the state shall ensure that the amount fixed by or determined under such law for the acquisition of such property is such as would not restrict or abrogate the right guaranteed under the clause within bracket Article 30, clause 1a. 2. The state shall not, in granting aid to educational institutions, discriminate against any educational institution on the ground that it is under the management of a minority, whether based on religious or language. Within bracket Article 30, clause 2. Page 20.6, Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Right to constitutional remedies. 6. Right to constitutional remedies. 1. The right to move the Supreme Court by appropriate proceedings for the enforcement of the rights conferred by this part is guaranteed within bracket Article 32, 1, clause 1. 2. The Supreme Court shall have power to issue directions or orders or writs, including writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto and certiorari, whichever may be appropriate for the enforcement of any of the rights conferred by this part. Within bracket Article 32, clause 2. 1b. Writ jurisdiction. The Supreme Court under Article 32 and High Court under Article 226 have the power to issue writs though the Parliament can empower any other court to issue writs as well. The writ jurisdiction of the Supreme Court and High Courts differ. 1. Whereas the Supreme Court issues writs for the enforcement of the fundamental rights, the High Court does it for the High Courts does it for the enforcement of the fundamental rights as well as for other purposes. 2. The Supreme Court's jurisdiction of writ covers the whole country, that of High Courts to their respective territorial areas. 3. The Supreme Court may not refuse the exercise of its writs jurisdiction, while the High Court may do so. The type of writs are: 1. Habeas corpus, literally within bracket from Latin term bracket close, it terms to have the body of, within inverted comma, to have the body of. This writ can be issued against both the public authorities and individuals. It is not issued where a. the detention is lawful, b. the proceedings is for contempt of a legislature or a court, c. detention is by a competent court, and d. detention is outside the jurisdiction of the court. 2. Mandamus, literally it means within inverted comma we command, inverted comma close. This writ issued: a. against a private individual or body, b. to enforce departmental instruction that does not possess statutory force, c. when the duty is discretionary and not mandatory, d. to enforce a contractual obligations, e. against the President of India or the state governors, and f. against the Chief Justice of a High Court acting in judicial capacity. 3. Prohibition, literally it means within inverted comma to forbid. This writ can be issued only against judicial and quasi-judicial authorities. It is not available against administrative authorities, legislative bodies and private individuals or bodies. 4. Certiorari, literally means to be certified. Within inverted comma, to be certified is within inverted comma, or within inverted comma, to be informed. It is to be informed, inverted comma close. It is issued by a high court to a lower court or tribunal and to any administrative authorities within bracket since 1991, either to transfer a case pending with the latter or to itself, or to squash the order of the latter in a case. It is issued on the grounds of excess of jurisdiction or lack of jurisdiction or error of law. Thus, unlike prohibition, which is only preventive, certiorari is both preventive as well as curative. 5. Quo warranto. Literally it means within inverted comma by what authority or warrant, bracket closed. It is issued by the court to require into the legality of claim of a person to a public office. Hence it prevents illegal usurpation of public office by a person. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Page 20.7, 1c, Fundamental Rights. Rights are rightly described as those claims of social life without which no man can seek to be at his best self. They help individual develop their personality. They are our claims on society which it grants us to further our interest. Rights are always social, exercised within the framework of society. The state maintains and protects rights. The framers of the Constitution of India had been inspired by the US Bill of Rights within bracket the first 10 amendments of the US Constitution, bracket closed. Though the nationalist opinion since the days of Nehru Report of 1928 was to have rights for the people of India in independent India, it may however be noted that the fundamental rights in India are not as absolute as they are in the United States, and that the judiciary in the United States is relatively more corporate than it is in India. A general glance as at Part 3 of the Constitution reveals a couple of salient features in our scheme of fundamental rights. Firstly, the fundamental rights have been projected as some kind of limitations on the powers of the legislature and the executive insofar as Article 13 forbids the state to make any law contrary to the provisions of Part 3, and if it does so, such a law would be void. And the article implicitly states that it would be the courts to declare such law void. Incidentally, the Supreme Court has been able to state its position successfully in cases like the Keshavananda Bharati and the Minerva Mills cases. Secondly, right to property, which was a fundamental right till the enactment of the 44th Amendment 1978 has been converted into a legal right. Thirdly, the scope of operation of fundamental rights has been made limited by Article 31A within bracket saying of laws providing for acquisition of estates, etc. Article 31B within bracket validation of certain acts and regulations including in the 9th schedule, bracket closed, and Article 31C saving of laws giving effect to certain directive principles. Fourthly, with the inclusion of fundamental duties of Part 4A has in a way minimized the emphasis which was laid on the fundamental rights. Indeed, the fundamental duties are not enforceable by the court nor their violation publishable. Yet, would refuse to enforce a fundamental right of an individual who has patently violated the duties. Fifthly, the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution have been indeed exhaustively stated. Each right has been enumerated in what it means as clearly as possible. Sixthly, the amendability of the fundamental rights has been an explosive matter for a long time. Though much dust has been cleared now, the Parliament's right to amend the Constitution has been upheld by judiciary. But the fundamental rights have also been made a part of the basic structure. Secondly, the chapter on fundamental rights makes a distinction between citizens and persons. Though all citizens are persons, all persons are not citizens. Aliens are persons, but they are not citizens. Article 14 uses the word within bracket person, within bracket equality before law or the equal protection of law. But Article 15 uses the word citizen within bracket inverted comma of birth or any of them bracket closed. Eligibility right to education has been made a part of the fundamental rights under Article 21A. Ninthly, the fundamental rights within bracket except those in Articles 19, 20 and 21 bracket closed can be suspended during the operation of national emergency. Tenthly, Article 35 states that a few of the rights within bracket as in clause 3 bracket closed clause 3 of Article 16, clause 3 of Article 72, clause 3 of Article 16, clause 3 of Article 32, Article 33 and 34 are enforced by the law of the Parliament and not of any state legislature. There is a varied criticism against the fundamental rights. It is usually said that there are more limitations of the fundamental rights than there are rights conferred on the people. Though exhaustively stated, the chapter on fundamental rights does not contain a single right which can be termed as social within inverted comma or economic inverted comma in content. Jennings objects to the legislative language used in the chapter within inverted comma lawyers' paradise beyond the comprehension of common man. Bracket close. Despite free legal aid, the whole court and legal procedure is too expensive that people usually choose to stay away from the courts, and yet it would be wrong to ignore the importance of fundamental rights. The fundamental rights have been very aptly described as the Magna Carta of the liberties of the Indian people. They provide check on the legislatures and executives. They protect the rights and the interests of the people, minorities in particular. They help establish rule of law and democratic system in the country. And thanks to judicial activism, the courts seem sometimes larger than the life. Page 20.8. I repeat, Directive Principles of State Policy, chapter of Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Directive Principles of Directive Principles of State Policy. Part 4 of the Constitution of India, from Articles 36 to 51, contain Directive Principles of State Policy. These provisions relating to Directive Principles are: Article 37 says, not enforceable by any court, but are regarded fundamental in the governance of the country, and the state would do well in applying them in making laws. 2A. Directive Principles article wise. The Directive Principles of State Policy as stated in the Constitution can be stated as follows. State to secure a social order for the promotion of welfare of the people. 1. The state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting as effectively as it may a social order in which justice, social, economic and political shall inform all the institutions of the national life. Within bracket Article 38 Clause 1. 2. The state shall in particular strive to minimize the inequalities in income and endeavour to eliminate inequalities in status, facilities and opportunities, not only amongst individuals but also amongst groups of people residing in different areas or engaged in different vocations. Article 38 Clause 2. certain principles of policy to be followed by the state. The state shall in particular direct its policy towards securing a that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to an adequate means of livelihood, b. that the ownership and control of the material resources of the community are so distributed as best to subserve the common good, c. that the operation of the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth and means of protection to the common detriment, b. that there is equal pay for equal work for both men and women, c. that the health and strength of workers, men and women, and the tender age of children are not abused, and that citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter vocations not suited to their age or strength. If that children are given opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity, and that childhood and young youth are protected against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment, within bracket Article 39. Equal justice and equal free legal aid. The state shall secure that the operation of the legal system promotes justice on a basis of equal opportunity, and shall in particular provide free legal aid by suitable legislation or schemes or in any way, in other way, to ensure that opportunities for securing justice are not denied to any citizen by reason of economic or other disabilities, within bracket Article 39A. Organization of village panchayats. The state shall take steps to organize village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government, within bracket Article 40. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.9. Directive Principles of State Policy as summed up by Dr. D.D. Boshan in a chart. In the horizontal line, the headings are nature of ideals of the state, space shaping the policy of the states, next space non-justiciable rights of citizen. Under the head nature of ideals of the state, in the vertical column against serial number 1, the state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing a social order permitted by social, economic and political justice, within bracket Article 38 Clause 1, to minimize inequality in income, status, facilities and opportunities amongst individuals and groups, within bracket Article 38 Clause 2. 2. The state shall endeavour to secure just and human conditions of work, a living wage, a decent standard of living and social and cultural opportunities for all workers, within bracket Article 43 bracket close. 3. The state shall endeavour to raise the level of nutrition and standard of living and to improve public health, within bracket Article 47 bracket closed. 4. The state shall direct its policy towards securing equitable distribution of the material resources of the community and prevention of concentration of wealth and means of production, within bracket Article 39 subclause B to C bracket closed. 5. The state shall endeavour to promote international peace and amity, within bracket Article 51. Under the head shaping the policy of the states, in the vertical column, serial number 1, to establish economic democracy and justice by securing certain economic rights. 2. To secure a uniform civil code for the citizens, within bracket Article 44. 3. To provide free and compulsory primary education, within bracket Article 45. 4. To prohibit consumption of liquor and intoxicating drugs except for medical purposes, within bracket Article 47. 5. To develop cottage industries, within bracket Article 43. 6. To organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern lines, within bracket Article 48. 7. To prevent slaughter of useful cattle, that is cows, calves and other milch and drought cattle, within bracket Article 48. 8. To organize village panchayats as units of self-government, within bracket Article 40. 9. To promote educational and economic interests of weaker secure sections, and to protect them from social justice within bracket Article 46. 10. To protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife within bracket Article 48A. 11. To protect and maintain places of historic or artistic interest within bracket Article 49. 12. To separate judiciary from executive within bracket Article 50. Under the head non-justiciable rights of citizen. 1. Right to adequate means of livelihood within bracket Article 39 Clause A. 2. Right both sexes to equal pay for equal work within bracket Article 39 Clause Subclause D. 3. Right against economic exploitation within bracket Article 39 Subclause E to Subclause F bracket closed. 4. Right to of children and the young to be protected against exploitation and to opportunities for healthy development consonant with freedom and dignity within bracket Article 39 Subclause F. 5. Right to equal opportunity for justice and free legal aid within bracket Article 39A. 6. Right to work within bracket Article 41. 7. Right to public assistance in case of unemployment, old age, sickness and other cases of undeserved want within bracket Article 41. 8. Right to human conditions of work and maternity relief within bracket Article 42. 9. Right to a living wage and conditions of work ensuring decent standard of life for workers within bracket Article 43. 10. Right of workers to participate in management of industries within bracket Article 43A. 11. Right of children to free and compulsory education within bracket Article 45. Right to work, to education and to public assistance in certain cases. The state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education and to public assistance in cases of unemployment, old age, sickness and disability and disablement and in other cases of undeserved want within bracket Article 41. Provision for just and human conditions of work and maternity relief. The state shall make provision for securing just and human conditions of works and for maternity relief. Article 42. Chapter 20. Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Page 20.10. Under the head 2 Directive Principles of State Policy, living wage, etc. for workers. The state shall endeavour to secure by suitable legislation or economic organization or in any other way to all workers, agricultural, industrial or otherwise, a living wage, conditions of work ensuring a decent standard of life and full enjoyment of leisure and social and cultural opportunities, and in particular the state shall endeavour to promote cottage industries on an individual or cooperative basis in rural areas within bracket Article 43. Participation of workers in management of industries. The state shall take steps by suitable legislation or in any other way to secure the participation of workers in the management of undertakings, establishments of other organizations engaged in any industry within bracket Article 43A. Uniform Civil Code for the citizens. The state shall endeavour to secure for the citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India within bracket Article 44. Provision for free and compulsory education for children. The state shall endeavour to provide within a period of 10 years from the commencement of this constitution for free and compulsory education for all children until they complete the age of 14 years within bracket Article 45. Through Amendment Act of 2002, the state is required to provide free and compulsory election to all the children, compulsory education to all the children between the age of 16 and 14. Promotion of educational and economic interests of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes and other weaker sections. The state shall promote with special care the education and economic interests of the weaker sections of the people, and in particular of the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes, and shall protect them from social injustice and all forms of exploitation, within bracket Article 46. Duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve public health. The state shall regard the raising of the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of public health as among its primary duties, and in particular the state shall endeavour to bring about prohibition of the consumption, except for medical purposes, of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health, within bracket Article 47. Organization of agriculture and animal husbandry. The state shall endeavour to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines, and shall in particular take steps for preserving and improving the breeds and prohibiting the slaughter of cows and cubs and other milch and draught cattle, within bracket Article 48. Protection and improvement of environment and safeguarding of forests and wildlife. The state shall endeavour to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country, within bracket Article 48, Clause A. Protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance. It shall be the obligation of the state to protect every monument or place or object of artistic or historic interest declared by or under law made by Parliament to be of national importance from spoliation, disfigurement, destruction, removal, disposal or export, as the case may be. Article 49, bracket close. Separation of judiciary from executive. The state shall take steps to separate the judiciary from the executive in the public services of the state, within bracket Article 50. Promotion of international peace and security. The state shall endeavour to A. promote international peace and security. B. maintain just and honourable relations between nations. C. foster respect of international law and treaty obligations in the dealings of organised peoples with one another. And D. encourage settlement of international disputes by arbitration. Article 51. Page 20.11, Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, Directive Principles of State Policy. 2b, Directive Principles Features. The idea about the Directive Principles of State Policy under Article 36 to 51 has been borrowed from the Irish Constitution of 1937. Dr. B. Ambedkar had described these principles as the, within inverted commas, noble features of our constitutions. They are, as he said, like the instruments of instructions of the Government of India Act 1935, issued to the Governor General by the British government. These are directives to the governments of the day to consider them fundamental while formulating the policies with regard to the government of the country. Some of the features of these principles can briefly summed up as under. 1. These principles are not justiciable. The government cannot be called to the courts for not having implemented them. 2. They serve as guidelines while making laws for the people. They are like the policies for the government, the national manifesto, irrespective of the political party in power. 3. They are so comprehensive that they seek to build a socialist society, within bracket free articles 38, 39, 39A, 41, 42, 43, 43A and 47. A Gandhian Indian, within bracket C, articles 40, 43, 46, 47, 48, bracket close, and a liberal international state, within bracket C, articles 44, 45, 48, 48A, 49, 50, 51, bracket close. 4. They are positive in the sense that they require the government to do certain things. 5. They are relatively social and economic in nature. The directive principle seeks to establish social and economic democracy. 6. They are indeed not enforceable, but they cannot be ignored either. The government cannot make laws against them, and if they do so, they can be declared violative of the Constitution in this sense. The directive principles are enforceable. 7. Ever since the directive principles of state policy were incorporated in the Constitution, certain new directive principles have been added. These are A. To secure opportunities for healthy development of children within bracket Article 39. B. To promote equal justice and to provide free legal aid to the poor within bracket Article 38A. C. To take steps to secure the participation of workers in the management of industries for Article 43A. D. To protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forests and wildlife within bracket Article 48A. E. To minimize inequalities in income, status, facilities and opportunities, adding them in Article 38 within bracket 44th Amendment 1978 bracket closed. F. To declare elementary education obligatory under Article 21 within bracket 86th Amendment 2002. 2C. Directive principles and fundamental rights. The fundamental rights and directive principles are oftenly distinguished. A1. Fundamental rights within bracket FR are both negative and positive. The directive principles DP are essentially positive. 2. FR are justiciable, DP are not justiciable. The FR put limitations on the government, a check on their absoluteness. DP provide them the task they must perform. 3. FR seek to establish political democracy, DP seek to establish social and economic democracy. 4. FR make the governments implement them, DP have no such force, they only have appeal. 5. FR are individually oriented, DP are community oriented. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 12.12, page 20.12, page 20.12, 2C, Directive Principles and Fundamental Rights continued. There has been a history of conflict between the fundamental rights and directive principles. For Article 37 makes the latter unjusticiable. The State of Madras versus Champakam within bracket 1951 case was one in which the Supreme Court has declared that the directive principles have to conform to and in fact run subsidiary to the fundamental rights. It also held that the Parliament can amend the Constitution accordingly. So came the first within bracket 1951, the fourth 1955 and the seventh 1964 amendments. In 1967, the Supreme Court in the Goloknath case declared the fundamental rights sacrosanct within inverted comma and held that the fundamental rights cannot be amended for the implementation of the directive principles. In response to the Goloknath case verdict, the 25th Amendment within bracket 1971 inserted Article 31C, which contained two provisions. 1. No law which seeks to implement Articles 39B and 39C would be void on the grounds that it contravenes the fundamental rights, especially Articles 14, 19 and 31. 2. No law which seeks to give effect to such policy within bracket that is Articles 39B and 39C would be questioned in any court of law later. In the Keshavananda Bharati case, the Supreme Court declared the clause 2 of Article 31C as unconstitutional by stating judicial review is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. The 22nd Amendment within bracket 1972 accorded primacy to the directive principles over the fundamental rights within bracket Articles 14, 19 and 31 bracket closed. But the Minerva Mills case within bracket 1980 within bracket closed reversed the position, making the directive principles subordinate to the fundamental rights. However, the Supreme Court in the Minerva Mills case regarded both the fundamental rights and directive principles as complementary one, no less important than the other, both essential parts of the basic structure. 2D. Implementation of directive principles. Though much has to be done with respect to the implementation of the directive principles, there is much that has been done. The Minimum Wages Act 1948, the Payment of Wages Act 1936, the Payment of Bonus Act 1965, the Contract Labour Regulation and Abolition Act 1970, the Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, the Bonded Labour System Abolition Act 1976, the Trade Unions Act 1926, the Factories Act 1948, the Mines Act 1952, the Industrial Dispute Act 1947, the Workmen's Compensation Act 1923 have been enacted to protect the interests of the labour sections. The Maternity Benefit Act 1961 and the Equal Remuneration Act 1976 have been made to protect the interests of women workers. For the protection of common good, nationalization of life insurance 1956 and banks 1971 was undertaken. The Community Development Project 1952, Hill Area Development Program 1960, Drought-Prone Area Program 1973, Minimum Needs Program 1974, Integrated Rural Development Program 1978, Jawaharlal Rozgar Yojana 1989, Swarno Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana within bracket 1999, Sampurno Gramin Rozgar Yojana and so on have been launched for raising the standard of living of people. The Wildlife within bracket Protection Act 1972 and the Forest within bracket Conservation Act 1980 have been enacted to safeguard the wildlife and the forests respectively. 73rd and 74th amendments have given the local governments a constitutional status. The Untouchability within bracket Offences Act 1955 renamed as the Protection of Civil Rights Act in 1976 and the legislations passed for the scheduled castes and the scheduled tribes 1989 have helped promote the interest of the weaker section of society. Health services are being extended to the remotest possible areas and attempts are being made to eradicate diseases such as leprosy, AIDS, cancer and the like, and yet the task ahead is nothing less than a challenge. Nehru has aptly said, as long as there are tears and sufferings, so long our work will not be over. Back invert comma close. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.13, 2E, Evolution of Directive Principles. The directive principles of state policy have been described by Ware as a manifesto of aims and aspirations. It is, K.T. Shah had said, a check payable by the bank concerned at its own convenience. Srinivasan held the view that these principles combine rather, within inverted comma, incongruously the modern with the old, and provisions suggested by reason and science with provision based purely on sentiment and prejudice. Bracket close, inverted comma close. Sir Ivor Jennings says, within inverted comma, directive principles do not matter. Within inverted comma close. These principles have been criticized as lacking legal sanctions, devoid of constitutional importance. They are vaguely stated and have been illogically arranged. No two principles are linked together. There are principles which would not be implemented in any remote future, and there are principles which are government worth the name would enforce, and yet these principles have utility of their own. B.N. Rao, the advisor of the Constitution as a Constituent Assembly, had said that these principles are, within inverted comma, moral precepts for the authorities of the state, and that within inverted comma they have an educative value, inverted comma close. Granville Austin, though thought of these principles as those which help further, within inverted comma, the goals of the social revolution, inverted comma close. These principles act as signposts indicating what has been achieved and what still has to be achieved. They provide criteria to judge the performance of the rulers. They help induce the governments to work for the welfare of the people. Justice Sapru had said, within inverted comma, in these directive principles will be found the entire philosophy on which the welfare state in any modern community can be founded. With the inverted comma close. These principles serve as the common manifesto. Justice Gajendra Gatkar, within bracket, the Constitution of India, bracket closed, rightly says, within inverted comma, a ruling party, irrespective of its political ideology, has to recognize the fact that these principles are intended to be its guide, philosopher, and frame in its legislative and exclusive acts. Inverted comma close. 3. Fundamental duties, page 20.13 continued. Sharan Singh Committee, in its recommendations within bracket 1976, suggested the inclusion of a separate chapter on fundamental duties in the Constitution. Following it, Part 4A and Part 51A was added by 42nd Amendment. In 2002, through 86th Amendment, a duty was incorporated providing opportunities to the children between the ages of 6 and 14 years. The fundamental duties so described in the constitutions are: A. To abide by constitutions and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. B. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. C. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. D. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. E. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people in India, transcending religious, linguistic and religion or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. F. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. G. To protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife, and to have compensation for living creatures. H. To develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. I. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. J. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. K. One who is the parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 and 14 years, within bracket 86th Amendment 2002. The fundamental duties included in the constitutions are vague and ambiguous, described only as moral precepts, and then there is no provision for the enforcement of these duties, within bracket Ram Sharan versus Union of India 1980, nor any sanction to prevent their violation. The Bharma Committee on Fundamental Duties, within bracket 1999, bracket close, however, has identified the existence of memorious provisions for the implementation of fundamental duties, provisions such as the Prevention of Insults to National Honour Act, within bracket 1971, the Protection of Civil Rights Act, within bracket 1976, and the Wildlife, within bracket Protection Act, within bracket 1972, and the like. Page 20.14, exercise 20, fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. Exercises. Exercise number 1. Match list 1 within bracket fundamental rights with list 2 within bracket articles of the Indian Constitution and select the correct code. In the horizontal column, list 1, the headings are list 1 space list 2. Under list 1 as head, in the vertical column against serial number A, right to equality, B, right to freedom, C, right to freedom of religion, and D, right to constitutional remedies. Under list 2 as head, in the vertical column, 1, Article 14 to 18, 2, Article 25, Article 3, Article 32, 4, Article 19, 5, Article 13. Quote. In the horizontal column, the headings are capital A space, capital B space, capital C space, capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A1, B2, C1, D2. Under capital B, in the vertical column against serial number A3, B4, C4, D3. Under capital C, in the vertical column against serial number A2, B5, C2 and D5. Under capital D, in the vertical column against serial number A4, B3, C3 and D4. The correct answer is C, that is under capital A, right to equality, 1, that is Article 14 to 18. Under capital B, right to freedom, 4, that is Article 19. Under Article C, right to freedom of religion, 2, that is Article 25. Under capital D, that is right to constitutional remedies, 3, that is Article 32. 2. Exercise 2. Match list 1 with list 2 in the horizontal column against under the head list 1. The headings are list 1 under list 1 fundamental right, space list 2, head list 2 under list 2 article number. Under list 1 and fundamental rights in the horizontal column against serial number capital A, right to constitutional remedies, serial number capital B, protection of interests of minorities, serial number capital C, abolition of untouchability, serial number capital D, equality of opportunities in the matters of public employment. Under the head list 2 and article number in the vertical column against serial number 1, 29, 2, 17, 3, 18, 4, 32 and 5, 19. Code in the horizontal column under the heads are capital A, B, space capital B space capital C space capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column the serial numbers are A5, B4, C5 and D4. Under capital D in the vertical column against serial number A3, serial number B1, C1 and D1, D3. Under serial number capital C in the vertical column against serial number A4, B2, C4 and D2. Under serial number under capital D in the vertical column against serial number A1, B3, C3 and D1. The correct answer is B, that is under capital A, right to constitutional remedies, 4, that is 32. B, that is protection of interests of minorities, article number 1, that is 29. Capital C, that is abolition of untouchability, 2, that is article 17. Capital D, that is equality of opportunities in the matters of public employment, 3, that is 18, article 18. Exercise 3, right to vote and to be elected in India is a fundamental right. Fundamental right. I repeat again. 3, right to vote and to be elected in India is A, fundamental right, B, constitutional right, C, natural right and D, legal right. The correct answer is B, that is constitutional right. Article 326 says that any citizen who has attained the age of 18 shall be a voter. Exercise 4. Which of the following freedom is not guaranteed by Constitution of India? A, freedom to own, acquire and dispose of property. B, freedom to move freely throughout the country. C, freedom to assemble peaceful and without arms. D, freedom to practice any trade or profession. The correct answer is A, freedom to own, acquire and dispose of property. 5. Exercise 5. Given below are two statements. One is level against at assertion A and the other labeled as reason R. Assertion A. Article 14 of the Indian Constitution does not lay down that all laws must be of universal application. Reason R. State has power to classify persons of legitimate purpose and on reasonable grounds. In the context of the above two statements, which one of the following is correct? A. Both A and R are individually true and R is the correct explanation of A. B. Both A and R are individually true but R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false, and D. A is false but R is true. The correct answer is D, that is A is false but R is true. Exercise 6. Which of the following are the grounds on which discrimination of citizens for admission into educational institutions is constitutionally prohibited? 1. Religion and race. 2. Sex and place of birth. 3. Nationality and color. And 4. Age and nativity. A 1, 2, 3, 4, B 1, 2 and 1 and 2, C 1, 2, 3 and D 1, 2, 4. The correct answer is 1 and 2. That is 1. Religion and race. 2. Sex and place of birth. Exercise 7. Untouchability has been abolished by the Constitution of India under A. Article 14, B. Article 15, C. Article 16 and D. Article 17. Under Article 17, that is D. Correct answer is D. Article 17. Exercise 8. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? A. Equality before law, guaranteed to both citizens and non-citizens. B. Altering the name of a state, power of a state legislature. C. Creating a new state, power of parliament. D. Equality of opportunity, guaranteed only to Indian citizens. The correct answer is B. Altering the name of a state, power of a state legislature. Exercise 9. Which of the following part of the Constitution deals with the fundamental duties? A. 4A, A. Roman 4A, B. Roman 9A, C. Roman 14A, and D. None of the above. The correct answer is A, that is Roman 4A. Exercise 10. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? A. Article 15 clause 4, special provisions for socially and educationally backward classes or SC and ST. B. Article 22.4, Article 22.4, safeguards under preventive detention. 3C, serial number C, Article 20 clause 2, immunity from double punishment. Article D, Article number 16.4, discrimination in labor of women in service under the state. The correct answer is D, that is Article 16.4, discrimination in favor of women in service under the state. Article 16.4 refers to backward classes. Exercise 11. Which of the following has been maintained by the Supreme Court in the year 1996 under Article 21 regarding an attempt to commit suicide? 1. It is a natural right of a citizen. 2. It is punishable under the law. 3. The court has nothing to do with it. 4. The court reserved the right of condonation. A. 1 and 3, B. 2 only, C. 1 only, and D. 2 and 4. The correct answer is B, that is 2 only. 2. It is punishable under the law. Exercise 12. Match list 1 within bracket provisions with list 2 within bracket articles of the Constitution of India. In the horizontal line, in the horizontal column, the headings are list 1, space list 2. Under the head list 1 in the vertical column, against the serial number capital A, prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth. Serial number capital B, prohibition of employment of children and in factories. Exercise capital C, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. Against serial number D, abolition of untouchability. Under the head list 2 in the vertical column, against serial number 1, article 22, serial number 2, Article 15, 3, Article 17, 4, Article 24, 4, and 5, Article 23. Quote, in the horizontal column, the headings are capital A, capital B, capital C, capital T. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column, again serial number A1, B2, C1, D2. Under capital B in the vertical column, again serial number A1, B3, C3, D4. Under capital C in the vertical column, again serial number A2, B1, C2, and D1. Under capital D in the vertical column, again serial number A1, A3, B4, C4, and D3. The correct answer is D. That is under capital A, prohibition of discrimination on grounds of religion, sex, race, caste, sex, place of birth. 2. That is Article 15. Capital B, prohibition of employment of children and in factories. 4. That is Article 24. Capital C, protection against arrest and detention in certain cases. 1. Article 22. D. Abolition of untouchability. 3. That is Article 17. Chapter 20. Fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. Page 20.15. Exercises. Exercise number 13. Under the term within inverted comma double jeopardy inverted comma clause implied in clause 2 of Article 20 of the Constitution of India, a person A convicted by a court of law cannot be punished under the departmental proceedings for the same offence. B. Punished departmentally cannot be prosecuted in a court of law for the same offence. C. Shall not be prosecuted and punished for the same offence more than once. D. Cannot be subjected to proceedings in civil courts for disobedience of an injunction along with criminal proceedings. The correct answer is C. Shall not be prosecuted and punished for the same offence more than once. Exercise 14. Which of the following statements regarding Article 22 of the Constitution of India are correct? 1. The fundamental right conferred by this article protects persons against detention in certain cases. 2. This fundamental right is guaranteed both to citizens and non-citizens. 3. The rights guaranteed under this provision are applicable to those arrested under laws providing for preventive detention. 4. The rights guaranteed under this provision are not applicable to enemy aliens. A. 1, 2 and 3, B. 2 and 3, C. 1, 2 and 4, D. 1 and 3. The correct answer is 1, 2 and 4. 1. The fundamental right conferred by this article protects persons against detention in certain cases. 2. This fundamental right is guaranteed both to citizens and non-citizens. 4. The rights guaranteed under his provision are not applicable to enemy aliens. Exercise 15. Which of the following are envisaged by the right against exploitation in the Constitution of India? 1. Prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. 2. Abolition of untouchability. 3. Protection of the interests of minorities. And 4. Prohibition of employment of children in factories and mines. Within A. 1 and 2, B. 1 and 3, C. 2, 3 and 4, and D. 1 and 4. The correct answer is D, that is 1 and 4. 1. Prohibition of traffic in human beings and forced labor. 4. Prohibition of employment of children in factories and mines. Exercise 16. Article 30 of the Indian Constitution deals with the A. Freedom of conscience, B. Right to propagate religion, C. Right to minorities to establish and manage educational institutions, and D. Cultural and educational rights of the majority community. The correct answer is C, that is right of minorities to establish and manage educational institutions. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, Exercises, page 20.16. Exercise 70. Which of the following statements about the right to freedom of religion is not correct? A. The state can regulate the economic, financial, political or other secular activities which may be associated with religious practices. B. Restrictions can be imposed on the right to freedom of religion on grounds of maintenance of public order, morality or health. C. Every religious denomination has the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose. D. Funds appropriated by a religion are taxable. The correct answer is D, that is funds appropriated by a religion are taxable. The correct answer is D, that is funds appropriated by a religion are taxable. Exercise 18. Consider the following statements about secularism. 1. It promotes religious philosophy. 2. It separates religion from politics. 3. It denies state support to religious organizations. 4. It opposes religious ideas and ideology. Which of these statements are correct? A. Only 2. B. 1 and 3. C. 2 and 3. D. 1, 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is A, that is only 2. That is, it separates religion from politics. Exercise 19. Assertion A. Secularism is a basic feature of the Constitution of India in the sense that the state should be neutral to the different religions. Reason R. One of the directive principles of state policy states that it will be a part of the duty of the state to improve the breeds of cattle and stop the slaughter of cows and calves. Both A and R are true and R is the correct expression of A. B, both A and R are true but R is not the correct expression of A. C, A is true but R is false. D, A is false but R is true. The correct answer is B, that is both A and R are true but R is not the correct expression of A. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Exercises, page 20.17. Exercise number 20. Which of the following are not included in the right to freedom of religion in the Constitution of India? 1. Freedom of conscience and the right to practice and propagate religion. 2. Levying of taxes or use of funds of the government for the promotion or maintenance of any religion. 3. Managing the affairs in matters of religion. 4. Imparting of religious instruction in any government-maintained institutions. A. 1 and 2, B. 1, 2 and 3, C. 1, 3 and 4, D. 2 and 4. The correct answer is D, that is 2 and 4. 2 means levying of taxes or use of funds of the government for the promotion or maintenance of any religion. 4. Imparting of religious instruction in any government-maintained institutions. Exercise 21. In the Indian Constitution, the power to issue a writ of habeas corpus is vested on only in A. the Supreme Court, B. the High Court, C. the subordinate courts, and D. the Supreme Court and the High Courts. Exercise 22. A writ issued by a court to some inferior authority to transfer the matter to it or to some other superior authority for its proper consideration is called A. certiorari, B. mandamus, C. quo warranto, and D. prohibition. The correct answer is A, that is certiorari. Exercise 23, match list 1 with list 2 in the horizontal column. The headings are list 1, under list 1 writs, space, heading, list 2, under list 2 subject matters. Under list 1 writs, in the vertical column, against serial number capital A, habeas corpus, serial number capital B, certiorari, serial number capital C, mandamus, serial number capital D, quo warranto. Under list 2 subject matter, against serial number 1, a comment to produce the body in person. 2, a command to a public authority to do its duty. 3, proceeding to inquire into the illegality, I repeat, 3, a proceeding to inquire into the legality of a claim of a person, and 4. A directive to a lower court or judicial body not to exceed its limits. Quote, in the horizontal column, the headings are capital A space capital B space capital C space capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A1, B4, C4, D1. Under capital B in the vertical column against serial number A4, B1, C1, D4. Under capital C in the vertical column against serial number A3, B3, C2 and D2. Under capital D in the vertical column against serial number A2, B2, C3 and D3. The correct answer is D, that is under capital A, habeas corpus. 1, that is a command to produce the body in person. B, that is certiorari. 4, that is a directive to a lower court or judicial body not to exceed its limit. C, capital C means mandamus. 2, that is a command to a public authority to do its duty. Capital D, that is quo warranto. 3, that is a proceeding to inquire into the legality of a claim of a person. I repeat, capital C, the means mandamus. The answer is 2, that is a command to a public authority to do its duty. Capital D, quo warranto. The answer is 3, that is a proceeding to inquire into the legality of a claim of a person. Exercise 24. Which of the following writs is issued by an appropriate judicial body in order to free a person who has been illegally detained? A. Quo warranto, B. mandamus, C. certiorari and D. habeas corpus. The correct answer is D, that is habeas corpus. Exercise 25. The Supreme Court of India declared by issuing a writ that within inverted comma the respondent was not entitled to an office he was holding or a privilege he was exercising. Inverted comma close. Which writ is that? A. habeas corpus, B. prohibition, C. quo warranto and D. certiorari. The correct answer is C. Quo warranto. The correct answer is C, that is quo warranto. Exercise 26. Which of the following fundamental rights is guaranteed only to the citizens of India and not to the foreign living in India? A. Equality before law and equal protection of law. B. Freedom of speech and expression. C. Right to life and liberty. And D. Right to the freedom of religion. The correct answer is B, that is freedom of speech and expression. Exercise 27. Fundamental rights guaranteed in the Indian Constitution can be suspended only by A. a proclamation of national emergency, B. an act passed by the Parliament, C. an amendment of the Constitution, and D. the judicial decision of the Supreme Court. The correct answer is A. a proclamation of national emergency. Exercise 28. The state shall not make law which takes away or abridges the fundamental rights. Which one of the following shall not be construed as law for this purpose? A. Ordinance, B. bylaw, C. rule, and D. constitutional amendment. Page 20.18. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Exercises. Exercise number 29. Match list 1 with list 2. In the horizontal column, list 1, heading list 1, space list 2. Under list 1, in the vertical column, against serial number capital A, right to equality, serial number capital B, right to freedom, serial number capital C, right to constitutional remedies. Against serial number D, right to freedom of religion. Under list 2 as head, in the vertical column against serial number 1, article 25 to 28, serial number 2, articles 14 to 18, serial number 3, articles 19 to 22, serial number 4, article 32. Quote, in the horizontal column, the headings are capital A space capital B space capital C space capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A2, B1, C3 and D4. Under serial number capital B against serial number A3, B4, C2, D1. Under capital C against serial number, by the vertical column against serial number A4, B3, C1 and D2. Under capital D in the vertical column, against serial number A1, B2, C4 and D3. The correct answer is A. That is under capital A, right to equality 2, that is article 14 to 18. Under capital B, right to freedom 3, that is article 19 to 22. Under capital C, right to constitutional remedies 4, that is article 32. Under capital D, right to freedom of religion 1, that is article 25 to 28. Article 30. Which of the following is not included in the right to freedom? A. Speech and expression. B. To adopt any profession, vocation, trade. C. Assemble peacefully and without arm. And D. Acquire, hold or dispose property. The correct answer is D, that is acquire, hold or dispose property. Exercise 31. Right of freedom of religion does not include the A. Freedom of conscience, B. Free practice and propagation of religion, C. Freedom to have fast for indefinite period so to harm health, D. Free to manage religion affairs. The correct answer is C, that is freedom to have fast, F-A-S-T, fast for indefinite period so to harm health. Exercise 32. Under which articles the fundamental rights can be suspended? A. 352 and 353. B. 358 and 357. B. I repeat B. 356 and 357. C. 358 and 359. And D. 360. The correct answer is C, that is 358 and 359. Exercise 33. The writ that seeks the presentation of the detained person to the court is called A. mandamus, B. cassatiori, C. habeas corpus and D. quo warranto. The correct answer is C, that is habeas corpus. Exercise 34. The writ of prohibition forbids the following to continue further for reasons of excess in jurisdiction. A. Higher to the lower minister. B. Higher to the lower court. C. Central to the provincial government. And D. Provincial to local government. The correct answer is B. Higher to the local court. Exercise 35. Right to education relates to A. Article 19A, B. Article 20A, C. Article 21A and D. Article 22A. The correct answer is C, that is Article 21A. Exercise 36. Right against exploitation does not include A. Prohibition of traffic in human beings, B. Prohibition of forced labor and C. Prohibition of employment of children in hazardous jobs, D. Prohibition of senior citizens in hazardous factories. The correct answer is D, that is prohibition of senior citizens in hazardous factories. Exercise 37. Right to information is A. fundamental right, B. legal right, C. neither fundamental nor legal, D. both fundamental as well as legal right. The correct answer is B, that is legal right. Exercise 38. Minorities' rights are given in A. Article 25 to 28, B. Article 29 to 9 and 30, C. Article 31 and D. Article 32. The correct answer is B, that is Articles 29 and 30. Exercise 39. Which of the following statements regarding the fundamental duties contained in the Indian Constitution are correct? 1. Fundamental duties can be enforced through writ jurisdiction. 2. Fundamental duties have formed a part of the Indian Constitution since its adoption. 3. Fundamental duties became a part of the Constitution in accordance with the recommendations of the Sharan Singh Committee. 4. Fundamental duties are applicable only to citizens of India. A. 1, 2 and 3, B. 1, 2 and 4, C. 2 and 3 and D. 3 and 4. The correct answer is D, that is 3 and 4. 3 means fundamental duties became a part of the Constitution in accordance with the recommendations of the Sharan Singh Committee. 4. fundamental duties are applicable only to citizens of India. Exercise 40. Which of the following is not a fundamental duty? A. To respect the national anthem. B. To safeguard public property. C. To protect monuments and places of national importance. D. To protect and improve the fundamental environment. The correct answer is C. To protect monuments and places of national importance. Exercise 41. If all male citizens were conscripted in accordance with the fundamental duty of defending the country, the law would A. Be unreasonable because it does not provide for categories. B. Amount to discrimination to the basis of age. On the basis of age. C. Amount to discrimination on the basis of sex. D. Not be in conflict with any of the provisions of the constitutions. A. Be unreasonable because it does not provide for categories. Exercise 42. Which of the following is not included as a fundamental duty in the Constitution of India? A. To cherish and follow the noble ideals. To cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle. B. To develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. C. To protect the minorities. D. Safeguard public property and to square violence. The correct answer is C. That is to protect the minorities. Exercise 43. Which of the following is not fundamental duty of the Indians? A. To uphold and protect the unity of India. B. To help the aged parents. C. To safeguard public property. And D. To develop scientific temper. The correct answer is B. To help the aged parents. 44. Which of the following duties have been prescribed for the state and the citizens? 1. To develop scientific temper. 2. To promote common brotherhood. 3. To organize village panchayats. 4. To minimize the inequalities in income. 5. To secure a uniform civil code. 6. To defend the country. A. 1, 3 and 4. B. 3, 4 and 5. C. 1, 2 and 6. And D. 2, 5 and 6. The correct answer is C. That is 1, 2 and 6. Chapter 20. Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.19 exercises. Exercise 45. Which of the following are the fundamental duties mentioned in the Constitution of India? 1. To follow the principles of morality. 2. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. 3. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. 4. To safeguard public property and to adjure violence. A. 1, 2, 3 and 4. B. 1 and 4. C. 1, 2 and 4. D. 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is D, that is 2, 3 and 4. 2 means to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. 3. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. And 4. To safeguard public property and to adjure violence. Exercise 46. Consider the following statements. Fundamental duties. 1. Have always been a part of the Constitution of India. 2. Have been added through an amendment. 3. Are mandatory on all citizens of India. Which of the following statements is oblique are correct? A. 1 and 3. B. 2, 1 and 1 only alone, 1 alone. C. 2 alone. And D. 2 and 3. The correct answer is C. That is 2 alone. Have been added through an amendment. Exercise 47. Which of the following duties have been prescribed by the Indian Constitution as fundamental duties? 1. To defend the country. 2. To pay income tax. 3. To preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. 4. To safeguard public property. The correct answer is 1, 3 and 4. Exercise 48. Which of the following is correct with regard to the fundamental duties? A. Citizens are to promote brotherhood. B. Citizens are to preserve heritage. C. Citizens are to defend the country. D. All the above. The correct answer is D. That is all the above. Exercise 49. Match list 1 with list 2. In the horizontal column, in the heads are list 1 and space list 2. Under the head list 1 in the vertical column, against serial number A, article 41, serial number B, article 44, serial number C, article 47, serial number D, article 48A. Again, under this heads list 2, against serial number 1, protection of environment, against serial number 2, right to work, serial number 3, uniform civil code, and 4, prohibition. Code in the horizontal column, against serial number code on the horizontal column, under the heads are capital A space, capital B space, capital C space, capital D. Under capital A in the vertical column, against serial number A2, B2, C3, D4. Under serial number capital B in the vertical column, against serial number A3, B3, C2, D1. Under serial number capital C in the vertical column, against serial number A4, B1, C1 and D2. Under serial number capital D in the vertical column, again in the vertical column, against serial number A4, B4, C4 and D3. The correct answer is A. That is under serial number capital A, that is article 41, 2, that is right to work. Under capital B, article 44, 3, that is uniform civil code. Under capital C, that is article 47, 1, that is protection of environment. Under capital D, article 48, capital A, 1, that is. Now I repeat, code, the correct answer is A. That is under capital A, that is article 41, 2, that is right to work. Under capital B, article 44, 3, that is uniform civil code. Under capital C, that is article 47, 4, that is prohibition. Under capital D, that is article 48A, 1, that is protection of environment. Chapter 20, exercises, fundamental rights, directive principles and fundamental duties. Exercises, page 20.20. Exercise 50. Which of the following statements about the changes made by the 42nd Amendment to the Constitution relating to directive principles of state policy are correct? 1. It enabled state to provide free legal aid to its citizen. 2. It provided for the state to secure the participation of workers in the management of undertakings. 3. It made dowry taking a culpable offence. The correct answer is A, that is 1 and 2. 1. It enabled state to provide free legal aid to the citizens. 2. It provided for the state to secure the participation of workers in the management of the undertakings. Exercise 51. Which of the following is are among directive principles of state policy? 1. 3. The state shall strive to promote science and technology for development. 2. The state shall endeavour to secure for citizens a uniform civil code throughout India. 3. The state shall try to develop population policy and family planning programs. 4. The state shall take steps to promote tourism. A 1 and 3, B 2 and 4, C 2 only, and D 1, 2, 3 and 4. The correct answer is C 2 only. The state shall endeavour to secure for citizens a uniform civil code throughout India. Exercise 52. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? A. Protection of childhood and youth from exploitation, Article 39. B. Right to work, to education and to public assistance in certain cases, Article 41. C. Prohibition for free and compulsory education for children below 14 years, Article 45. And D. Protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance under Article 48A. Correct answer is D. That is protection of monuments and places and objects of national importance, Article 48A. Exercise 53. Match list 1 with list 2. in the horizontal column the heads are list 1 space list 2. Under the head list 1, in the vertical column against serial number capital A, article 39A, against serial number capital B under article 43A, against serial number capital C, article 48A, against serial number capital D, article 51A. Under the head list 2, against serial number 1, fundamental duties, 2, free legal aid, 3, participation in factory management, and 4, protection of environment. 4, in the heads, in the horizontal column, the heads are capital A space capital B space capital C space capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A2, B2, C3, D4. Under capital B, under the head capital B, serial number A3, B3, C2, D1. Under the head capital C, against serial number A4, B1, C1, D1. Under the head capital D, against serial number in the vertical column against serial number A1, B4, C4, and D3. The correct answer is A. That is under serial number capital A. That is under capital A, article 39A, 2, that is free legal aid. Under capital B, that is article 43A, 3, that is participation in factory management. Under capital C, article 48A, 4, that is protection of environment. Under capital D, that is article 51A, that is 1, that is fundamental duties. Exercise 54. Which of the following directive principles were not originally provided for the Constitution of India? A. Citizens' right to an adequate means of livelihood. B. Free legal aid. C. Free and compulsory education to children under 14 years of age as far as practically possible. D. Prohibition of the slaughter of cows and calves. The correct answer is B, that is free legal aid. Exercise 55. Which of the following federal principles are not found in Indian Federation? 1. Bifurcation of the judiciary between the federal and the state government. 2. The federal and state governments have their own officials to administer their respective law and functions. 3. The union cannot be destroyed by any state seceding from the union at its will. 4. Federal government can redraw the map of the union by forming new states. A 1, 2, 3 and 3, B 2, 3 and 4, C 1 and 2, D 3 and 4. The correct answer is C, that is 1 and 2. That is 1 means bifurcation of the judiciary between the federal and the state government. 2. The federal and state governments have their own officials to administer their respective law and functions. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties, page 20.21. Exercises. Exercise 56. Which of the following statements regarding the current status of the relationship between fundamental rights and directive principles is correct? A. Directive principles cannot get priority over fundamental rights in any case. B. Directive principles always get priority over fundamental rights. B. C. Fundamental rights always get priority over directive principles. And D. In some cases, directive principles may get priority over fundamental rights. The correct answer is D. That is, in some cases, directive principles may get priority over fundamental rights. Exercise 57. Which part of the Constitution of India refers to the responsibility of the state towards international peace and security? A. Fundamental rights. B. Directive principles of state policy. C. Emergency provisions. And D. Preamble to the Constitution. The correct answer is B. That is, directive principles of state policy. Exercise 58. Which of the following is not the objective of the directive principles of state policy? A. To establish a welfare state. B. To ensure socio-economic justice. C. To establish a religious state. And D. To establish a secular state. To establish a secular state. The correct answer is C. To establish a religious state. Exercise 59. If the union government issues directive to a particular state or group of states to introduce free and compulsory education, within bracket article 45, prevent cow slaughter, Article 48, and implement prohibition of liquor, Article 47, and the states refuse to comply with the same, then A. Article 365 can be invoked against the concerned states. B. A commission of inquiry can be sent to the states concerned. C. President of India can issue a special can issue special ordinances. D. Parliament can pass legislation on behalf of the reluctant states. The correct answer is A, that is Article 365 can be invoked against the concerned states. Exercise 60, assertion A, any individual affected due to violation of any of the directive principles of state policy cannot move the court. Reason R, the directive principles are not justifiable. The correct answer is the proposed answers are A, both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. B, both A and R are true, but R is not the correct explanation of A. C, A is true but R is false, and D, A is false but R is true. The correct answer is A, that is both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Exercise 61, which of the following articles was incorporated in the Constitution of India by the Constituent Assembly for the promotion of international peace and security? A. Article 51, B. Article 39, C. Article 44, and D. Article 2062, and D. Article 265. The correct answer is A, that is Article 51. Exercise 52, 16 articles of the Constitution of India deal with the directive principles of state policy. Which of the following pairs is not correctly matched? A. To secure just and human conditions of work and maternity relief, Article 42. B. To organize village panchayats as units as self-government. C. To secure the improvement of public health and the prohibition of intoxication drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health, Article 47. D. To protect all monuments of historic interest and national importance, Article 50. D. To protect all monuments of historic interest and national importance, Article 50. Article 60, Exercise 63. Article 39 does not contain which of the following? 1. Right to an adequate means of livelihood. 2. Equal pay for equal work. 3. Free ownership and control of material resources. 4. Protection and improvement of environment. The proposed answers are A. 1, 2, 3, B. 1, 2, 4, C. 2, 3, 4, and D. 1, 3, 4. The correct answer is A, that is 1, 2, and 3. 1 means right to an adequate means of livelihood. 2. Equal pay for equal work. 3. Free ownership and control of material resources. Page 20.22, Chapter 20, Exercises. Exercise number 64. Assertion A. Directive principles are enforceable. Reason R. They are fundamental in the governance of the country. A. And R are true. R is the correct explanation of A. B. A and R are true. R is not the correct explanation of A. C. A is true but R is false. And D. A is false, R is true. The correct answer is D, that is A is false, R is true. Exercise 65. Match list 1 with list 2. In the horizontal column, the heads are list 1, space list 2. Under the head list 1 in the vertical column, against serial number capital A, Article 14, capital B, Article 20, capital C, Article 29, capital D, Article 32. Under the list 2 in the as head in the vertical column, against serial number 1, conservation of a distinct language. 2. Constitutional remedies. 3. Equal protection of law. And 4. Personal liberty. 4. In the horizontal column, the heads are capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D. Under the head capital A in the vertical column, against serial number A3, B3, C3, D3. Under the head capital D against serial number A4, B4, C1 and D2. Under the head capital C against serial number A1, B2, C2 and D1. Under the head capital D against serial number A2, B1, C4 and D4. The correct answer is A, that is under Article 14, 3, that is equal protection of law. Under Article 20, B, under capital B, that is Article 20, 4, personal liberty. C, that is Article 29, 1, that is conservation of a distinct language. Capital D, that is Article 32, 2, constitutional remedies. Exercise 66. Match list 1 with list 2. In the horizontal column, the heads are list 1 space list 2. Under list 1 as head, in the vertical column against serial number A, Article 15 clause A. Under serial number capital B, Article 18 clause 1. Under serial number capital C, Article 22 clause 1. Under capital D, Article 23 clause 1. Under list 2 as head, in the vertical column against serial number 1, absence of discrimination. 2, prohibition of prohibition of title except academic. 3, protection against detention. And 4, prohibition of forced labor. The codes in the horizontal column and the heads are capital A, capital B, capital C and capital D. Under the head capital A in the vertical column against serial number A4, B1, C3 and D2. Under capital B as vertical under capital B as head in the vertical column against serial number A3, B2, C4 and D1. Under capital C in the vertical, under capital C as head in the vertical column against serial number A2, B3, C2 and D3. Under the head capital D in the vertical column against serial number A1, B4, B4, C1 and D4. The correct answer is B, that is under capital A, Article 15(1), absence of discrimination, 1. Under capital B, Article 18(1), 2, that is prohibition of little except wrong. 2, that is prohibition of title except academic. Under Article C, under capital C, that is Article 22 clause 1, 3, that is protection against detention. Under capital D as head, Article 23, 1 is capital D represents Article 23, 1, 4, that is prohibition of forced labor. Exercise 67. The Supreme Court has the power to issue writs under which article? A. 31 clause 1, B. 31 clause 2, C. 32 clause 1 and D. 32 clause 2. The correct answer is D, that is 32 clause 2. Exercise 68. Match list 1 with list 2. Under the head, in the horizontal column, the heads are list 1 and list 2. Under the head list 1, in the vertical column against serial number capital A, Articles 25 to 28. Against serial number capital B, Articles 23 to 24. Against serial number capital C, Articles 14 to 18. Under capital D, Articles 32. Under the head list 2, 1, right to constitutional remedies. Under 2, freedom of religion. 3, right against exploitation. And 4, right to equality. The code in the horizontal column, the heads are capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A3, B3, D2, C2 and D2. Under the head capital B, against in the vertical column against serial number A2, B2, C3, D3. Under the head capital C, against serial number A4, B1, C4 and D1. Under the head capital D, against serial number A1, B4, C1 and D4. The correct answer is C. That is under the head capital A, Articles 25 to 28. 2, that is freedom of religion. Under capital B, that is Articles 23 to 24. 3, that is right against exploitation. Under capital C, Article 14 to 18, 4, that is fight to equality, right to equality, right to equality. Under capital D, Articles 32, 1, that is right to constitutional remedies. Match list 1 with list 2. In the horizontal column, the heads are list 1 and list 2. Under the head list 1, against serial number capital A, Article 51A, against serial number capital B, Article 53A, under capital A, under list 1 as head in the vertical column against serial number capital A, Article 51A, serial number capital B, Article 43A, Article 43A, against serial number capital C, Article 39A, against serial number capital D, Article 38A. Under the head list 2, against in the vertical column against serial number 1, fundamental duties, 2, workers' participation in management, 3, minimizing inequalities, and 4, adequate means of livelihood. 4. In the horizontal column, the heads are capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D. Under the head capital A, in the vertical column against serial number A1, B1, C4, D4. Under the head capital B, against serial number A2, B2, C3, D3. Under the head capital C, against serial number in the vertical column against serial number A4, B3, C1 and D2. Under the head capital D, against serial number A3, B4, C2 and D1. The correct answer is A. That is under capital A, Article 51A, 1, that is fundamental duties. B, Article 43A, 2, that is workers' participation in management. C, Article 39A, 4, that is adequate means of livelihood. Capital D, Article 38A, 3, that is minimizing inequalities. Exercise 70. Which of the following is not a fundamental duty? A, to uphold integrity of India. B, to develop constitutional temper. C, to provide education to the children if one is a parent. D, to preserve composite culture. The correct answer is B, that is to develop constitutional temper. Chapter 20, Fundamental Rights, Directive Principles and Fundamental Duties. Exercises, page 20.23. Exercise number 71. Which of the following with regard to fundamental rights is oblique are correct? 1. Right to property is a legal right. 2. Rights cannot be suspended in normal times. 3. Right to education is a fundamental right for the children between 6 and 14. A, 1 and 2. B, only 3. C, 1, 2 and 3. And D, 1 and 3. The correct answer is 1 to C, that is 1, 2 and 3. 1 means right to property is a legal right. 2 means rights cannot be suspended in normal times. 3 means right to education is a fundamental right for the children between 6 and 14. Exercise 72. Which of the following cases deals with the fundamental duties? A, Keshavananda Bharati case. B, Ramcharan case. C, Goloknath case. And D, Minerva Mills case. The correct answer is B, that is Ramcharan case. Exercise 73. Which article relating to directive principles was added by 86th Amendment? A, 45A, B, 43A, C, 39A and D, 48A. Exercise 74. The directive principles of state policy seek to establish. Now, I repeat. Exercise 73. Which articles relating to directive principles was added by 86th Amendment? A, 45A, B, 43A, C, 39A and D, 48A. The correct answer is A, that is 45A. Exercise 74. The directive principles of state policy seek to establish A, political democracy, B, cultural democracy, C, social and economic democracy and D, political and cultural democracy. The correct answer is C, that is social and economic democracy. Exercise 75. Consider the following. 1. Fundamental rights are justiciable. 2. Fundamental duties are non-justiciable. A. Only one is correct. B. Only two is correct. C. 1, 2 both are correct. D. 1, 2 both are false. The correct answer is C. That is 1, 2 both are correct. 1 means fundamental rights are justiciable. 2. Fundamental duties are non-justiciable.